Hello and welcome to part 6 of the Hot Shots and Aces 2 Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures Expansion Pack review. This video will be looking at the Resistance pilots of the expansion. In the past videos we looked at pretty much all the factions except for First Order, so obviously that will be the next video, but first, the Resistance, and let's just hop right into it. Our first Resistance pilot is in the Resistance Transport. At Initiative 2, we have Taka Jamoreesa, Sonograph Enthusiast. After you jam, you must assign one jam token to another ship at range 0 to 1 of the jammed ship, if able. So potentially you're jamming yourself or another friendly ship if you jam someone, but you could also jam another enemy ship, which I think is a really cool ability. It gives her a lot of potential for sure. I mean, if the enemy ship's in her bullseye arc, she can jam at range 2 and not have to use that ability if she doesn't want to. So definitely a lot of really cool stuff. Definitely can disrupt a lot of enemy ships. Yeah, I mean, it's another Resistance Transport. Not a terribly great ship. We haven't really seen it around competitively. She's only 4 squad points, though, which is not terrible. And she's got 15 points loadout value-wise. A talent upgrade, 2 cannon slots, a torpedo slot, an Astromech upgrade, a modification upgrade, an illicit upgrade, and a tech upgrade. So Proton Torpedoes, Overtree Modulators, synced laser cannons could be really good. Yeah, she's got a lot of utility on her. Most of the other pilots also have some pretty good loadouts. I don't know, in general we just don't really see these pilots that much, so I'm not exactly sure if she's really going to make a breakthrough for Resistance. But, I mean, she's alright. She's not bad. She's a sonograph enthusiast. I don't know what a sonograph is. I imagine it's a real world thing that they put in Star Wars. But, yeah, sure, cool. It's not the best pilot, but not the worst. And our next Resistance pilot is a T-70 X-Wing pilot. Super exciting for the ship. And it is Zay Versio, her father's daughter. The character Zay Versio and Del Meeko obviously had this girl in the Battlefront 2 campaign. If you played like the update they had to the campaign, she was in it. Yeah, cool. Yeah, she's an alright character. She's not too bad. 3 initiative. While you defend, if the attacker is damaged, you may roll 1 defense die. Really similar to Del Meeko's ability, where if the defender is while a friendly ship range 0 to 2 defends, which includes himself, if the defender is damaged, you may roll 1 defense die. So kind of the same thing, which I really like. I think that's pretty cool. Obviously, it only works on herself. A bit more selfish, I guess, than her father. And in general, not a great ability. Not terrible, though. That's alright. Her main strength, though, and the main reason I think we're going to see her a little bit in meta is because she's only 4 squad points, which is great for T-70 X-Wing because they're usually 5, and she's pretty cheap. She's got 7 points for loadout value, though, so obviously there's that little trade-off. Her upgrades aren't that bad. She's got 2 talent slots, a tech slot, a modification slot, the weapon hardpoint slot that T-70 X-Wings have on their ship ability, of course, the configuration slot, and an Astromech upgrade. So you can definitely give her some interesting stuff. I think the main reason why she'll be cool is because you can take her with Snap Wexley. Snap, obviously, the version of Snap that lets all the T-70s flip their card to gain a strain and to calculate, is 6 points now, meaning that 4 T-70 X-Wing lists were previously not seen in meta anymore. But with Zay Versio, she's only 4 points, so you can do Zay, Snap, and 2 more 5-point X-Wings. So Snap Wexley, 4 T-70s are back in full strength, which I think is perfect and just awesome. I think that's great to see that the 4 T-70s are back. Obviously, if you really didn't like that meta list, that'll be bad. But if you were okay with it, I mean, I was okay with it. I played against it with a really trashy list and lost, and if the list was so trashy, I would have lost against anyone. So I didn't mind, but hey, you know, I mean, if I was flying a good list, I probably could have gotten him, you know? So, yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's cool to see Snap back in the meta, and that's kind of because of her, so that's kind of why I think this pilot's cool. And that's really the only reason why. Next up is the second and last T-70 X-Wing pilot for Resistance. It's a pilot from Star Wars Resistance Season 2, I think, is what they said in the AMG article. I don't remember. Her name is Vendisa Dosa, Jade Leader. Initiative 4. While you perform a torpedo or missile attack, you may treat the front arc requirement as rear arc for the attack. If you do, treat the range requirement as range 1 to 2. Very strong ability. Advanced Proton Torpedoes go up by a range from range 1 to range 1 to 2. Proton Torpedoes go down to range 1 to 2 from range 2 to 3, but you gotta remember, you aren't normally able to shoot torpedoes out of your rear arc, so the fact that you can now at range 1 to 2 is really cool. And her point value is pretty nice. She's got 13 points for her loadout value, which means she can take a Proton Torpedo, and then like a 1-point upgrade. Obviously the weapon hardpoint upgrade from the T-70's ability. 1 modification slot, 2 modification slots actually, 1 configuration slot, 1 Astromech slot, 1 talent slot, 1 tech slot, and actually 2 missile slots. Without her ship ability, she has 2 missile slots. So you could give her Diamond Boron missiles and then another missile, or just Diamond Boron missiles and a bunch of other upgrades. So Diamond Boron's a great option, I guess, if you want, but I think Proton would probably be better. Anyways, she's an interesting X-Wing pilot. If people start playing the whole snap thing, she might be seen there, because she's one of the few T-70 X-Wing pilots that for 5 squad points can actually take a Proton Torpedo. I believe the other one is Kai Thunderlamb, and obviously Snap himself can take a Proton Torpedo at 6 points. So yeah, I think she'll be seen. Not ultra great. It's a cool ability, and she only launches like a missile or a torpedo 2 or 3 times though, so kind of just useful for as long as you have that munitions, and then after that it kind of just fades away. So it's great to have another T-70 X-Wing pilot though, I guess, so that's cool. Next up we have our first Resistance Millennium Falcon pilot, which we haven't seen new Falcon pilots in a while, so it's great to see him back. It's Lando Calrissian, the old general. Initiative 5. After you fully execute a red maneuver from a red action, you may spend any number of charge tokens to choose that many friendly ships at range 0 to 2. The chosen ships may each perform an action even while stressed. So, and he also has 3 charge tokens with a recovery of 1 charge per round. So very cool. They were saying in the article that revealed all these pilots that you could pair these up with Resistance Ordnance Strikes of T-70 X-Wings. And yeah, you could do like 2 T-70 X-Wings with at 5 points each with a 2-point Resistance Transport Pod. Like, I think Finn is 2 points. I know BB-8's 2 points. Finn is 3 points, so you wouldn't be able to use Finn, but you could take BB-8, I guess. Like, that's cool. So maybe not as effective as you think. He is 8 squad points. That's why I'm doing all this math. He's 8 squad points, so you can't run that much with him. And his points are 20, so you can actually have quite a bit of upgrades with him. He's got a missile upgrade, a talent upgrade, 2 crew upgrades, 1 gunner, 2 elicits, 1 modification, and the title upgrade, of course. So not bad at all. To trigger his ability, red action, he's got 2 red actions on his bar, so great, but you don't always want to rotate, and a boost isn't always great, so I mean, you could always put C-3PO on and coordinate to get her stress and then get it calculated from C-3PO, but then you're kind of mitigating his ability because, well, I guess that ship that you coordinate to can now get 3 actions, and I think that's pretty cool. I don't know, we'll see where he goes. I think he's a little bit too expensive. Maybe bump him down to like 6 or 8 squad points and just reduce his loadout value dramatically to make sure that he can run with enough ordnance ships to really make his ability useful, because I think Snap does the same thing, but just a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to see Lando for Resistance and the Falcon. That's always great. Great to see your movie characters into their old ships. So yeah, very cool. Next up, our final Millennium Falcon pilot and the final pilot for Resistance is, of course, with this artwork, who could you ever guess? Poe Dameron. A difficult man, but he's initiative 6. Before you execute a maneuver, you may spend 1 charge. If you do, ignore obstacles during that maneuver. After you fully execute a maneuver, you may spend 2 charges to perform a white boost action or a red barrel roll action. Then, if you perform the red barrel action, expose 1 damage card, if able. And he's got 2 charges on his ability, so you, with 1 charge reoccurring at the end of every round. So that's actually really good. The ability for a large base ship to ignore obstacles, especially when the game is so objective-oriented nowadays, is great. The fact that he can perform a white boost or red barrel roll after he moves before he performs another action is also super cool. I think Poe Dameron is maybe possibly better than Rey. I think Rey puts a lot of damage on and stays alive pretty well, but Poe Dameron's got a lot of maneuverability, and that's scary for a Falcon to have. He's got 7 points for his. He's 7 squad points, so he's not that bad to put on the table. He's literally the same cost as his T70 variant, so you just put one or the other on the table. But he's got 25 points for his loadout value, with 1 crew, 1 gunner, 1 missile, 1 illicit, 1 title, 1 modification, and 2 talent upgrades. So, spinning off the top of my head, I think Ray is probably a good gunner for him, just to give him some more modification results, or Finn, depends on how you want to pair your characters up. Yeah, overall, not a bad pilot. Yeah, just really good. Barrel roll or boost after you move is pretty scary, especially for a large base ship like a red. I haven't seen a large base barrel roll in such a long time, so that'll be. I see this guy on the table. That'll be interesting to deal with. And ignoring maneuvers, yeah, he's pretty scary to fly against, but pretty fun too. I don't know. He's a really cool pilot. I definitely am happy with this card. I think it really does maybe put the Resistance Falcon back on the table competitively. Because Ray obviously is there, but she's a little bit expensive. But Poe, he's cheap at 7 points, and he's just so good, I guess. He just looks so good, so I'm happy about that for Resistance, even though I don't play the faction. And that will be the end of the Resistance part of the review of Hot Shots and Aces 2. Next video will be looking at the First Order pilots, so stay tuned for that if you're interested, or not. I don't care. Don't worry about it. And yeah, we'll see you next time. May the Force be with you. Good luck, and get rock and rollin'.